Hello, everyone. I'm Smart Chick Megan Orser with Smart Apartment Solutions and Smart Moves. And in today's session, we're going to talk about Behind the Buzzwords, an IRO's practical guide to AI and automation. Let's get started. All right, so we're going to cover 5 topics today. I'm going to share a little bit of history or backstory of how we got from here and how we got to there. We're going to talk about my love for workflows and virtual assistants, as well as our use of generative AI, how we're using chatbots and automation. And I'm going to top it off with the power of video with some tools and resources that you can use and take with you, and hopefully start after the conference implementing this on site. All right, so how did we get from where we were? Well, Smart Moves, our management company, started in 2014, and we started with one property, 633 Water Street. As you can see here on the screen, we do not have new construction. In fact, most of our buildings, most of all of them, were built before the 1900s. And so that's brought some unique challenges, but it's also brought some unique opportunities for us to stand out in the market and lean into technology where people may think a portfolio like this would not. And so our management company, Smart Moves, formed in 2014, and like many small operators, we found ourselves overwhelmed by the administrative tasks. And I can sit here and say that that has only increased since 2020. We've only found more and more paperwork and more administrative tasks to take care of. And so that has been an ever-growing challenge we faced. We had to find out-of-the-box solutions that we could scale without breaking the bank. We also found that by embracing technology, we could set ourselves apart from our competitors in our market. So we learned, maybe not in the beginning, but we do now, learned to love workflows. And that helped lead us to things like virtual assistants and automation. Let me take you a little bit further. So workflows, just like they sound, it really is where a task starts and then where it will end, what avenues it might take. You really map out that whole process. So workflows and standard operating procedures, or as we like to refer, SOPs, helped us identify tasks and unnecessary barriers. So by literally applying this to every task, every responsibility in our company, we were able to map that out and see maybe we were putting up unnecessary barriers. Maybe there were additional steps that we could remove to help bring some more efficiency, not only to our customer experience, but also to our internal customer experience, our Smarties. So we've done this process many, many times. And a lot of times, if you're feeling like I'm getting stuck or I really need to move through this new process, it's time to do another workflow again on the process and see if anything maybe needs some adjustment. But we have found since we've started introducing workflows, it's helped us with training our new on-site teams as well as our new virtual teams, but it's also cut down on errors because everything's mapped out, everything's right there. And it allows our team to focus on the areas that we can impact. So as we know in property management, sometimes things are out of our control and we can't control everything. And so having things with workflows, with processes and procedures helps us control what we can. So that led us to virtual assistants. And I got to tell you, you've got to have the workflows and the work mapped out to be able to really utilize your virtual assistants to the best of their ability. I chuckle a lot because a lot of times people believe that our virtual assistants might be robots, and they're not. They're real people that just don't want to integrate back into the regular 9-to-5 world. Alicia was in the past a high school science teacher. Lisette was a bookkeeper for her church. They both have had very great skills that we've been able to utilize in our business, and they have brought a lot of efficiencies as well. So in 2003, we decided it was time to expand our bench strength and try something that was common in many other practices, but not really in our industry. It's very common in the technology world to have virtual assistants or remote team members. So I interviewed initially 5 virtual assistants that responded to my listing, and I hired Alicia and Lisette. That was around $600 a month. Since then, we have expanded. We were as high as 5. We now have 4, including accounting and some onboard specialists in our staffing company. But specifically, Lisette and Alicia help us in our property management company. And with the two of them, we have delegated over 45 hours a month of work that we've taken off of our management company's team and put on their plate so that we can do more things that we all know that we need to get done. So what do? Well, they process invoices, they do put in invoices, they track certificates of insurance, they help us with our demand for possessions or any collection issues, legal issues. They help us process applications by getting even maybe backup information, typing and preparing leases and renewals so that we can go ahead and get them verified and sent out. They've helped us with SODAs. So in Michigan, we refer to them as SODAs. That's for security of deposit accounting. Maybe you call it a final account statement or something like that. But they've been able to help us in that process and keep us on task so that we can keep all of that paperwork in one place and we're ready to go. Really, so much more. There's so much more than what I've listed here on the screen. But by following our do plus delegate plus delete process, that's how we were able to identify what we could peel off to Lisette and Alicia, and now April and Diana, by doing this process. So by simply taking a column and marking it as do, another column is delegate, another column is delete, I will go through all of the tasks that we've got to do for a specific duty or job, and I'll identify that this is something that I have to do. Like speaking at the IRO summit, just me. I can't give that to my virtual assistant, so that goes in the do column for Megan. But maybe there is a task that I don't necessarily need to do that Alicia or Lisette could do, and probably better. That's something that I can delegate to them. And then maybe we identify there's a task that we're doing that really no one needs to do. It's either redundant, doesn't help anybody, or it's something maybe we could automate, which we'll talk about in a couple of slides forward. But maybe it's something we can just take off of every human's plate and make this an automated task. So let's talk generative AI, chatbots, and automation. So in 2023, like many we were completely enamored by ChatGPT, and our heads just spun for a solid month asking some of the most ridiculous questions to ChatGPT. We created social media and blog text. Even ChatGPT created a 30-day meal plan with a shopping list for a gluten-free lifestyle. We fell hard and fast for this generative AI technology. But like most loving relationships, there's a give and take. And in the case of third generation or generative AI, like we're in, this love affair is with a sleepy partner with amnesia. So I like to think of the movie 50 First Dates. It is something that you've got to wake up continually. It doesn't stay awake all the time. And when you do wake it up, most of the time you're going to have to remind it who it is, what you are, who you are, and what tasks it needs to do specifically. So as far as having a memory, we're not really there yet. So the scary part that we see in the movies, we're not there yet. This is not a technology that is able to remember, all of the nuances and conversations that you've had yet. I'm not saying that there's not that technology out there, but that's not what we're working with. And so you've got to remind it, you've got to give it workflows and tasks every single time that you're giving it a prompt. So the more that I learned about the differences in AI, even the differences in the different generative AI platforms like ChatGPT, Claude AI, Pi, the list goes on and on, I started to understand how I was supposed to generate prompts to yield what I wanted to get. So automation and chatbots are better communicator, I'm a better communicator now that I know how to communicate with generative AI, chatbots, and automation. So understanding that language made me get better results. So the pros of AI, it falls in line definitely with our do, delegate, delete process, and it has saved us a lot of time doing repetitive tasks as well as market research. It has powerful capabilities, including minimizing fraud in our industry, even detecting identity theft, even detecting leaks, water leaks. The list goes on for all of the uses that we're able to utilize AI today in our industry. Some of the cons are that we don't know much about the impact long-term that it's going to have on us. We're still kind of figuring that out, especially in the court system. There's been several news stories and lawsuits that have popped up regarding discrimination in screening, stereotypes, practices, as well as rent pricing and algorithms. So it's still a new, uncharted territory, and we're learning as we go, which is exciting in being a pioneer, but it's also scary on the risk side because we're going to have to figure all of that out, and unfortunately, at some expense of some of our operators. So let's take an example of what we use generative AI for. So I actually gave a prompt here. I've got it going on the screen. A very common prompt where we were taking over a property and we needed to send the letter to the residents about the security deposit transfer going from one bank to another. Here's some basic contact information for me. Copy and paste and put it in there. And within less than 30 seconds, I had a formatted letter that I could copy and paste, maybe make some tweaks. You always want to have that human oversight, but then I was able to get this generated and sent to my new residents. This is something that if I had to have created from scratch, it could have taken me all day because of all of the distractions and other things I'm doing. This is just one way that I'm able to use generative AI to help keep things moving along. If I have an email maybe that's difficult to respond to, or I can't, I've got a million things going on and I just can't keep my thoughts straight, you can put just some very random ideas into generative AI and you'd be surprised what it spits back out to you. So here's another example of where we've used AI. This is actually aivirtualstaging.com, and this is where you can upload a JPEG or a PNG photo that you have of your property or your vacant unit. And then you can choose the style of furniture, if it's living room, dining room, kitchen, bedroom, what have you. And then it will generate, based on some certain styles, some furniture in that unit. So we had a studio apartment that we were struggling with leasing because it was difficult for people to really envision how the furniture would fit there. So this unit sat vacant for quite some time. We had open houses, we tried concessions, and once we embraced the virtual staging, it leased within 2 weeks. So definitely something to consider. We pay, I think, $12 a month for the software, but there are also some just pay by picture options. So this is what the living room / bedroom looked like. And here is the kitchen stage. So we staged it with a dining room table as well as some items on the shelf to give it a little bit of color. So some common misconceptions, and I hear this even a lot in our industry because this technology is newer to rental property management, but what is AI? Let's just get it straight. So AI is artificial intelligence, which refers to the development of computer systems and software that can perform tasks traditionally requiring human intelligence and cognition. AI systems are designed to learn from data, recognize patterns, and make decisions on predictions without being explicitly programmed to do so. Key capabilities of AI include natural language processing, computer vision, predictive analytics, and autonomous decision-making. Now, chatbots are not AI. You can have chatbots that are powered by AI, but that doesn't mean that all chatbots, and most of the ones that we're interacting with, are not powered by AI. Key differences: chatbots rely on patterns, matching and predetermined scripts to respond to the user's inputs. Rather than learning and adapting on their own, they follow a very specific path. A question and answers, if you think about that on your website, would be typically where people would start with a chatbot. It has a question and it has a canned answer to it. Chatbots have limited contextual understanding and cannot engage in free-form or open-ended dialogue like a human would. So if someone is chatting with the chat box and they ask it something that's not in its funnel of questions or keywords that you can select with, it's not going to be able to understand or even search for information to try to understand like AI can. Chatbots lack the ability to learn from interactions and improve their own response over time, a core characteristic of an AI system. Chatbots are designed for specific narrow tasks, while AI systems can tackle a wide range of complex, unstructured problems. All right, so difference between AI and chatbots. Again, you can have an AI-powered chatbot, but most of the ones we're working with are not. And then automation is also not AI. You can, again, have automated AI or add AI to automation, but typically standalone automation is a chain reaction. So automation is focused on improving efficiencies and reducing manual effort, typically by following pre-programmed rules or instructions. Automation systems are designed to perform specific, repetitive tasks and cannot adapt or learn on their own. Automation lacks the ability to understand context, reason abstractly, or make autonomous decisions like an AI system can. And automation is often a rule-based or deterministic, while AI leverages machine learning algorithms to identify patterns to make decisions or more dynamic, flexible manner. Automation is primarily concerned with automating existing processes, while AI aims to create a new capability that can tackle more complex, unstructured problems. So with chatbots and automation, you've got to have the workflow, you've got to have that structure. It doesn't really veer outside of those guardrails. With AI, it doesn't really need those paths to be able to follow, to be able to produce prompts or solutions. So our journey into automation started with a photo booth at an event. We used a site called If This and That. It still exists out there. And we wrote a recipe. We didn't want to climb into the booth with people and resend or have to climb in and send, a photo from the camera roll while they were in there. So we found this recipe on If This and That that said, if a photo is saved to this camera roll on this device, we want you to post it to this Facebook page with this message. And then we had people go and like our page so that they could get their photo. It was a great workaround. And so that really got us excited about automation and maybe where there's some things that we could utilize this more. And from there, we adopted automation with our website, with forms creating tasks in our project management tool like Trello, to even creating calendar reminders, to moving an invoice from our email to a Google Drive folder without a human getting involved. We use Zapier, or as we like to call them, Zaps. There's a lot of recipes already written there, connections for a lot of the mainstream platforms that people use, so that you don't have to do a lot of the code writing. But there's also some capabilities where you can write some custom Zaps as well. So let's talk the power of video. Video is definitely still king. This is not something that I would say is new, but I think for IROs, it is something that we still each year talk about embracing more and more, and the power that this can really help leverage our businesses and catapult them and stay competitive with larger operators. So the growth of video content has become increasingly essential in marketing and communication tools for real estate and property management companies. Apartment communities are leveraging video for virtual tours, resident testimonials, community overviews, and even other leasing-related content. Millennials and Gen Z renters, who make up a significant portion of the apartment market, have grown up with video content and expect it to be part of the leasing experience. They often rely on video to research and evaluate potential rental properties before scheduling an in-person tour. We've even found that video has been great for operational efficiencies, because videos can enhance those efficiencies for property management teams by reducing the need for in-person tours, especially for long distance or out-of-state renters. Pre-recorded video content allows for it to be scalable, on demand, and access the property's information and helps build trust. So think about the power of automation. You already have these pre-recorded videos where it shows this video at one portion of the tour or the interaction online, and then the automation can trigger another video. Sky really is the limit with video and the power of AI and automation. Here's an example of how this could work.
Hi, I'm Don from InSinkErator. Today I'm going to show you how to reset the reset button on an InSinkErator disposer. To help find the reset button, you can use a mirror and look underneath. It's a little square red button, and I see it right here.
So this is just a quick video that's provided by InSinkErator. A lot of our business suppliers out there have videos for their specific products, but if they don't, we could be recording these very quickly and adhering this right to a QR code, or putting it on YouTube and putting that in a QR code, adhering this right to the asset like the garbage disposal, so that residents could scan this and see a quick how-to of how to reset their garbage disposal. This is great on the larger property scale also because, again, maybe a resident doesn't want to wait 48 hours or 24 hours for a maintenance person to come out and re-hit this reset button. I know for me as an IRO, as we're paying, because we're scattered properties, we're probably going to pay for each time we send out a technician because we do more on demand. And so if we're able to avoid sending that out, that's saving our owners an invoice of $50 to $75 just for a house call to reset a garbage disposal. So in our world, that is a big cost savings. Plus, it just gets more education to the renters. We could be doing this for amenities. We could be doing this for thermostats. We could be doing this for so many different opportunities for our residents, but even for the tour process for our applicants and kind of guiding them through the process. So my brain always is firing about this. I hope this is a little bit of inspiration for you too. So here's some tools and resources to wrap up of what we used or what made this process successful with Smart. So we definitely needed to find a good software. That was probably number one. We had identified that we needed technology on a budget. We wanted a software that could support online applications and really help us go through the whole process. So that was number one. We had to identify a good software. Then we started leaning into Bluetooth locks. We use Igloo Home for our locks. And that helped us with self-guided tours, which just worked really well for our demographic and our remote centralized systems. We then started leaning into contactless move-ins. Again, our market just very much not much on work coming during the normal office hours. So being able to work around that has been a real game changer for us. And then even leading into AI and automation and chatbots to help support our virtual teams and us out in the field. You know, when we're not always there just waiting for an email or text, this is able to keep things moving. We were able to then lean into some out-of-the-box staffing solutions. So we started contracting with virtual assistants. I go through a headhunter or matchmaker called Sarah Wiles, sarahwiles.co. She trains and puts out virtual assistants all over the country, and I've hired 5 from her, so I think she's awesome. That then led us to some streamlined processes. So we were creating SOPs, following our do, delegate, delete process, and being able to peel more and more off to our virtual assistants. And by doing that process, we were able to remove unnecessary barriers and continually asking that question, are we easy to do business with? And that was really what was our driving force in writing those workflows and SOPs. And then we are not afraid to experiment. And I hope that you find some curiosity after this session today to keep pushing the envelope, keep testing things. It's okay if it doesn't work out. We're all trying to strive to get less off of our plate and more done. And so we've got to experiment to get there. So we utilize Text Magic as our text platform. It's something that we can get an app for and also use it on the laptop. I have multiple users on there, so we can all jump in and get involved in a message. We're able to schedule messages as well. And one of the most important things when we were selecting a text messaging platform was the capability to schedule, the capability to have the same phone number so it didn't change all the time. We wanted to be able to subscribe people on our own without them opting in, and we needed the capabilities to be able to send a video or picture in the message. So we had quite a laundry list. Maybe yours isn't as long, but we found that Text Magic had all of those things and was very affordable. Trello is our project manager dashboard. So this is where everything is connected. There's a lot of automation through here. So this is where the chain reactions typically will start. A form will feed from our website completed from our client to our Trello board, and that will then start creating calendar reminders and putting it on people's task list. Claude AI is probably one of my favorite generative AI platforms for our industry because it does have a really good voice tone, which is great for writing emails and resident letters. And I've just found it to be pretty consistent among all of the others. Zapier Zaps are what we use for our chain reaction and automation. And then Google Drive is like our digital filing cabinet. That's where everything is stored and everything links to. So hopefully you were able to take something from this session. I hope this encourages you to get curious and experiment out there. I'd love to know what you're implementing in your business today. And until we chat again, I hope you stay super smart.